Yo, yo, yo.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Let Me Tell You Something. I am your host, Deldrian. And yes, I have finally changed the fit. Even though nobody said anything about how I was looking in the same outfit, some of y'all are probably haters. I know y'all out there. So, yes, new fit, new me, same me. So let's get into, well, before we get into today's topic, I want to start this off on a positive note. Don't let people play in your face. When people try to play you, minimize you, diminish you, play in your face, act like you're not that, you know what? Forget them. You know who you are and you stand on that. Now, you may know that may be completely out of context of what I'm going to talk about this episode, which is about money. Money, 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 money. Oh, that's a good song idea. Anyway, but I just want to, after the events of this week, there's a lot going on. I wanted to just make that clear. So let's get into today's topic. So money. Money makes the world go round. We all want money, need money. We have money, we don't have money. Money's up, money's down. Everything's going up but the wages. So today's episode is called Mo Money, No Money. And I'm going to talk all things money. Let me get my handy dandy notebook. Shout out to Blues Clues. And let's get into some things. So why did I decide to even talk about money in this episode? Well, if you remember the episode, Deldrian's Road to Independence, I talked about, finding my footing and being independent and being self-sufficient and all that good stuff. And so I really want to touch on money because money dictates so many of our choices, our circumstances, and I really just want to touch on this topic. So when I think of my earliest memories of money, I really believe growing up that I did not really have a good concept of money. Now, spoiler alert, the kid is a little spoiled. So while technically I'm not an only child, I was raised as an only child, and I'm a little spoiled. So I really wasn't hurting for nothing. I wasn't rich, but I was comfortable, I guess, whatever. And so I wasn't one of those kids who had to, take out the trash, wash a little dish, babysit, none of those things. I wasn't getting an allowance, just the money was just there. I was just, existing. So I didn't think I had like a rags to riches struggle kind of story. Again, not rich by any means of the stretch of the imagination, but my first real introduction to money or my thoughts about money were really just real casual. So I think as I gotten older and I didn't really start working until my early 20s because I was a professional student pretty much my whole life. I really, some people, work their way through school and they work in high school. And I've always had trouble getting employment just for various reasons. Probably, I don't really know, can't really pinpoint that. But so I really didn't have a good footing and understanding of money. But as I've gotten older, the concept of money, my ideas about money have shifted and I've gained a better foundation about it. And honestly, money, I don't think money in itself is evil because most things in themselves aren't evil. But the things that people do for money, my God, today. As someone who watches Dateline, true crime, chronically online, baby, money has y'all in such a chokehold that it's not normal. And we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. So let's get into my next point of what I want to touch on. Financial literacy. I definitely think that should be a class in the curriculum in schools. While we teaching all this math and science and history, all very important things, but when are you actually going to use the Pythagorean theorem in real life? When are you going to need to know how to beaker a test tube or look under a microscope and be like, what do you see? And you tell your teacher, you see some? Because I sure don't. We need financial literacy. People should know how to write a check. I do not know how to write a check. I kind of do and I kind of don't. But also, who's using checks in 2026? I don't know. I'm not using a check. How to start a bank account. I didn't have my own bank account till I really started working. So I've had it now for a couple of years. How to manage your money. Money, well, if you want to be technical, money does grow on trees because money is paper. But the concept money doesn't grow on trees. You have to really be out here learning how to make your money work for you. But in these times that we in, people can't do that because capitalism has its boot on our necks. And I'm going to touch upon that a little later. But really, I think we definitely should be teaching children home economics. I don't know if that's still a class because I haven't been in school in a long time. It's, that should be a class. Financial literacy should be a class. We need to be teaching the youth about money because we need to be teaching kids skills that are going to have a real life impact on the life that they're going to be living down the line. So you need to know how to manage money. You need to know how to make your money work for you the best you can in the circumstances that you are in. And so when it touched on the tip of financial literacy, you cannot financial literacy yourself out of poverty. Sometimes people think that, people are just poor because they made bad decisions. And that's very, very, very incorrect. Sometimes people are so deep in poverty, so deep in circumstances. I don't care how many self-help Steve Harvey books you read. The money ain't gonna money the way that it needs to. Because if you have more, let me get it right. If you have more going out than you have coming in, you can't say, how can you save, for instance, let's just if you have $1,000 in total and 900 of that, 950 is going towards every bill you got, how are you going to spend that $100 or that $50 when you may have that? How are you going to save that? Sure, you can try, but at the end of the day, these bills are going to keep coming. And like I said, everything is going up, but the wages. So when you see so many people blame the individual for their financial situations, it's lunacy. Because you really think that just all the people in the world who are in poverty, who are barely making ends meet, are just in those situations because they have poor financial skills. And I'm not saying that's not some of it, but also a lot of it is circumstances. A lot of it is the capitalistic systems that we are born into that really devalue not only our pockets, but also our spirits. And so when we touch upon systems like SNAP and Medicaid and all these things, and we trying to say, the government is paying for your life and we're paying for this, paying that. Baby, your tax dollars go to all kind of miscellaneous BS every single day. Your tax dollars is going to a bar room that you will never even see. But you mad about using your money to help somebody buy a carton of milk, a little piece of egg, and you mad at them talking about, I'm feeding you and your children. Baby, relax. Y'all are at the bottom, scrounging for crumbs, bickering over breadcrumbs that fell off of the king's table. Meanwhile, the king's eating Golden Corral times 10, and you're starving and broke. So I just saw a video on TikTok from, I don't know that lady's name, but she's a TikTok lady who talk about all kind of various stuff. So TikTok lady, if I see your name, I'll let you all know the episode, but I don't know your name. And she talked about the vast majority, millions of people who are on these government assistance programs like food assistance, SNAP, all that, actually work for multi-million, billion-dollar companies like Walmart, Amazon. And while these companies are making billions and millions and trillions of dollars, you got to be on food stamps. Spoiler alert, the vast majority of people who are actually on government assistance actually do have a job, are not just sitting there popping out babies to get assistance. Now, there are some people who do that, but that is not the bulk of the people who are on assistance. And let me tell you something. If the worst thing somebody's doing is trying to eat, then I don't care. People are starving. They are tired. They are fed up. The money's not moneying. The math ain't mathing. The wages ain't waging. The child line is full. The grocery store is empty. The pantry is bare. People are hungry. I'm not hungry because I just ate. But still, the people are hungry. And while we up here picking at each other about people just trying to eat, I don't understand that. Do you understand that? I don't know. Ponder that, and we'll be right back with more. This is Let Me Tell You Something. Thank you for joining us over here at Let Me Tell You Something. If you enjoyed what you've seen so far, please follow us on YouTube at Let Me Tell You Something, over on TikTok at Deldrian, and on Instagram at Let Me Tell You Something. Now let's get back to more of the show. All right, and we are back. This is Let Me Tell You Something. So let's keep this conversation going. Now let me go to more of my notes. So I was talking about everything going up but the wages. Yeah, like I went to the grocery store the other day and I got maybe 4 or 5 items and it was $49. So everything is just so extremely expensive. And the wages aren't going up. People are getting their jobs cut because of AI and all these different things. Like we're just continuously seeing the human experience be devalued. Meanwhile, at this point, who's gonna live in these apartments that y'all keep building? Who can afford the housing? And let's get into this. Don't let nobody shame you for living with your parents if you can. A lot of y'all are jealous because y'all have to get it out the mud, have to struggle, have to heave and haw and hoot and holler and do all that. With shout out to y'all for making a way out of no way. But if you can live with your parents and your parents don't hate you and your parents ain't trying to make you be out and struggle and all that, live with your parents. Because I'm going to live with mine till the day I die. Or they die, God willing, that they don't die. Because we'll be down bad. Anyway, shout out to my parents. Stay with your parents if you can. Get a roommate. Now, I don't want a roommate because people be weird. But still, if you got to do it, got to do it. It is so, when I was, perusing apartments, a little apartment just for me is like minimum $1,200. That's the whole check. What am I gonna do? And I refuse to be one of those people who sitting up in the house is paid for, bills is paid for, but I don't have any money to do anything else. I'm not gonna do it because I like to travel, I like to eat, I like to be merry, and I am not gonna be in nobody's house. Bills paid, but can't do nothing. Not me, not I. If you want to do that, that's fine, but I'm not. And this idea that people say, oh, you shouldn't be this old living with your parents, says who? When everything going up but the wages. Are you dumb? Am I hearing my voice? We have so much critique of how people should be living their life. Meanwhile, let's get into this thing real quick. Y'all want to be elitist so bad. Y'all want to be elite. Y'all want to be Elon Musk so bad. Meanwhile, I'm not going to say that because that was mean. So let me reel that back in. Y'all not Elon Musk. You have a better chance of being hit by lightning 3 times in a row than being Elon Musk. Also, why would you want to be Elon Musk and have trillions of millions of dollars? Realistically, you don't need trillions of millions of dollars to live a comfortable life. And I know generational wealth and all these good things. Okay, you don't need $1 trillion to leave your people some money. So this idea that y'all be bootlicking for billionaires, thinking that you're going to be a billionaire, you're not going to be a billionaire. And also, there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Somebody had to do the labor, and it wasn't them. Sweatshops are a real thing. All these different things, somebody is getting manipulated, effed over, unpaid labor, all these different things to make somebody else some money. Let's get into making somebody some money. 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship. Everybody cannot be an entrepreneur. Everybody. Some of y'all have terrible personalities, have no interpersonal skills, but yet you want to be an entrepreneur. If everyone's an entrepreneur, then who's going to run the businesses? If no one's working a 9 to 5, who's going to help the entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs are not, they're running their own business, self-made, but they have teams. And the teams are working what? The 9 to 5s. So this idea of, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. Now you can say I'm kind of like a semi-entrepreneur with the podcast, but the podcast the coins ain't flowing yet. So we trying to get there. But don't be ashamed of living with your parents. Don't be ashamed of not want to be an entrepreneur. Don't be ashamed of working a 9 to 5. Clock in, clock out, get your benefits, get your money, plot, not scheme, child. I don't know, it is spend that summer. So, don't do that. Because while it is fun to sing those songs, it ain't fun going to prison. And that lifestyle will only lead you 2 places, prison or the grave. So, and trust me, ask JT. She ain't doing that no more. And neither is Carisha. But what I'm saying is about all of that is the elitism got to stop. The classism got to stop. All this, oh, you broke, you that. Baby, we all broke. Everybody's one paycheck away from being in the child line with Thelma and JJ and Michael. You see when that pandemic hit, everyone was doing odds and ends. Even the people you think got all the money was doing odds and ends. Everybody was selling flat tummy tea and everything else. Yeah, I remember flat tummy tea. That was Ozempic before Ozempic. Anyway, everybody was doing odds and ends. The people you think got it like that, and even if you do got it like that, there's nothing more unattractive than somebody who came from humble beginnings and didn't have any money, who got money from whatever means they got it, and suddenly turn into a real BI. Nobody likes that. And y'all want to be elitist so bad. Trust me, I get it. If I was born into money, I might be a little elitist too, but I don't got no money like that, so I can't be elitist. I have to be humble. And be humble, be nice, be kind, because people are out here struggling. And I don't think money is the root of evil, but people's love of money is the root of evil. People are really out here unaliving each other for money. Killing husbands, killing babies, all kind of various things for insurance money. Like, it's not that serious. It is that serious, but it's not that serious to lose your life or to take someone else's life for money. Let's get into relationships and money. Everybody want to be with a baller. Everyone want to be with a millionaire, billionaire. Oh, I want this person to take me to Paris on the first date. You can't even go to Paris at all, more likely than not. But yet you want someone to take you to Paris on the first date, which I would never tell, especially women. I'm not here to tell women about women. If you are making six figures and you want a man that also making six figures, there's nothing wrong with wanting somebody to be equally yoked. The problem is y'all are elitist in the way in which y'all try to do this. Y'all like to put people down in order to do this. Like that whole Ebony K. Williams and the bus driver thing. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to date the bus driver, but you don't have to down the bus driver in order to say you want a man with a certain amount of money. And that just goes not just for women, because I'm not going to, I support women in their rights and their wrongs most of the time. But we also, the dudes be out here too, thinking I want a baddie. I want a woman with this and that. At the end of the day, yes, you don't want somebody that you're going to have to carry the financial burden for. But also, people are really trying to I feel like most people, for real, are out here trying to just make ends meet. And it is very hard when you are trying to pay for your own way and your children's way and your family's way. And there's so much financial burden on people, like the student loan thing. I just started paying my student loans. The fact that we were told to go to college in order to get a better life, and now we are trapped in this like anchor around our necks that says you have to pay these loans back that most people are not going to pay in their lifetime or the next. And our government should be helping us. The government should be, all these taxes people is paying, all these things people are doing, the government should not be having their boot on our necks like this. Capitalism should not have its foot on our necks like this, but it does. It does. And people out here, there is no reason why people should have to work 1, 2, 3 jobs and still have to still can't make ends meet. Also, what is a real job? Y'all love to say someone, you get a real job. What is a real job? Baby, a job is a job. Sex work is a job. It's not the most conventional job, but it's a job. It's the oldest job, actually. People have been selling that thing for centuries. And, we support the sex workers over here. We support people who are trying to make ends meet, who are trying to make a way out of no way. Like I said, financial literacy is a great thing, but it's not going to save you out of poverty if you don't have the money. People could do a lot of things if they had the money. Money cannot buy happiness, but it damn sure can alleviate some of the stressors. But at the end of the day, if you're a miserable person, you're a miserable person. If you're a hurt soul, you're a hurt soul. And while money does give you access and money does give you resources, we've seen time and time again people who had all the money in the world be very unhappy. We've seen people have all the resources in the world and still be very unhappy. So this pursuit of money, don't let money and hustle dictate your life to the point that you stop living. Because the point of life is to live, not to pursue things. Oh, that was a word. I like that. So we have to really reshift our focus on money. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong with wanting a certain kind of woman, a certain kind of man, a certain kind of day. But when you allow money to dictate your mind and dictate your spirit, you become emotionally bankrupt. Forget financially bankrupt. You are emotionally bankrupt. And we are already fighting so many wars internally that we do not need to anchor ourselves to this love of a thing. Money is a thing, and we are allowing thing, literal paper, to cause us to step outside of our humanity in ways that is just abhorrent. And we need to reel that back in quickly and swiftly. Now, let me make sure I touch on all my things. I also want to talk about financial fear. I know one thing about me, I am obviously making my own money, but I have this, anytime I make a big purchase, I always have these feelings of the money's going to run out. And that is a real thing. No, I didn't come from a background of like true struggle in that way. But financial fear is a real thing, especially when, at any point you could be laid off. At any point, somebody could get sick. You could get sick. And life is so unpredictable. Life is so temporary. You don't know what situation you may find yourself in. So when you make a little money, there's nothing wrong. Like this idea of, oh, you want food stamps, but you got a new car, or you going on a trip. Dang, can't poor people have something? Now, I know Nicki Minaj, the queen, said broke people should never laugh, but queen, we can't laugh. We can't giggle. We can't mumble and cackle. Which, by the way, Nicki Minaj, I know, we're not featuring the queen right now, although, but that's still mother. Anywho, look up Nicki Minaj mumbling and cackling. Hilarious. That lady is unhinged and crazy, but that's mother. Anyway, but yes, people are just trying to live life. And this idea that you have to spend every waking moment working. Let's get into that real quick before we wrap this up. Hustle culture. Hustle culture is toxic. This idea that you have to be working 55 hours, 365, 24/7 is crazy. You have to spend all this time working. You got to work 50, 60, 70 years, and then you spend the last, 10, 20 years maybe of your life working. Meanwhile, you got 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds still working to their dying breath. No, find somebody else to do it because I don't want it to be me. Hustle culture is toxic. Yes, you should work hard. But also, I don't want to work hard in the sense of I don't want to have to just break my back to work in order to live. I want to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Yes, Kim, we don't want to work. We don't. We're tired of working. People have been working for decades and still don't have nothing. People are leaving this earth, having worked their whole lives. You will leave this earth on a Monday and your job will post your job by the end of the week like you were never there. Take that PTO. Go on a vacation. If you can afford it, I don't care if you is on food assistance or whatever you're on and you talking about, oh, you got a new car, you got shoes. Yes, I do, because I want to be happy. And you can be happy too. Poor people deserve nice things. Your social economic status does not dictate your value as a person. You deserve nice things. You can have it all if you want it. And if you not work hard, but just do the best you can with what you have. Make lemons out of lemonade. Parents who don't have it somehow make a way for their kids. People who don't have it make a way for themselves every single day because we're out here just trying to survive. More money, no money, still plenty of problems. Problems are everywhere. We never gonna run out of problems. You may run out of money, but you got a lot of love. And love is the answer. Love is the way. Now, I don't know if any of that made sense. I hope it did. It probably didn't really make any sense. I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm just fed up, child. I'm fed up. Everything going up but the wages. I'm gonna keep, that should be a solid episode. Everything going up but the wages. Everything is high. And people are doing the best they can with what they got. Like Mariah Carey said, I'm gonna do the best I can with what I got. And if you ain't got it today, maybe you'll get it tomorrow. I don't know. So just be gentle with yourself. Don't let the love of money, the pursuit of money, people's ideas about money dictate how you live your life. You go out there and you do the best you can with what you have. You hold value in yourself because of your character, not how many dollars and cents are in your bank account, not what kind of house you have, not what kind of car you drive, not what kind of Gucci, Louis, Prada that you have on. Like, none of that matters. Y'all's up here dying to impress people who don't give a about you, who don't care nothing about you. Meanwhile, you trying to twist and turn and bend yourself into some kind of avatar for people who don't even matter. What matters is you and your heart and your spirit. So while money is important and is essential to our everyday life, money should not be having us in the chokehold that it has, but unfortunately it does. And I pray that we can continue to create the building blocks that we need to create a society that is not built on the love of money, but of the love of community. And we're going to end it on that note, because that did make sense. This has been Let Me Tell You Something. I will catch y'all next time, and hopefully another fit. Bye.
Let me tell you something.
Yo, yo, yo.